Use the timestamps or chapters to navigate to wherever you're interested in. The game does have existing bugs, so every section should come with a pinch of salt. Enemy type. There are a handful of enemy types in World of Horror: human, beast, plant, vampire, undead, eldritch, and ghost. A few specific enemies are given the circle type, but that's outside the scope of this video and has no current effect on the game, at least I don't think so. Enemy type is important because certain perks, items, spells, and status effects trigger based on enemy type. There are a few other noteworthy details, but they should be explained in a separate video. Enemy HP. Self-explanatory, but there is a takeaway I want every player to learn, and that's the HP scaling per mystery. During the first mystery, HP values are at their base value. In the second, enemy HP increases by 1. In the third, HP increases by 1 again. In the fourth mystery, enemy HP increases by 2. And in the fifth, HP increases by 2 one more time. So if you notice an enemy has more HP, this is usually why. Enemy damage. Enemies can deal 4 types of damage, although technically 3. Stamina, Reason, Doom, and All. All damage is Stamina and Reason together, and thankfully doesn't include Doom. However, damage dealt by enemies scales on the 4th mystery onward. Specifically, damage increases by 1. And as an extra note, on Harbinger of Doom difficulty, enemies receive an increase of 1 damage from the very beginning. So yes, an enemy that deals 1 all damage on cultists will be doing 3 all damage on the 4th mystery of a Harbinger run. There are other ways damage can change, so do stay aware of any existing effects. Enemy power. An enemy's power value directly affects your weapon's attack accuracy. I'll expand on this more in the attack action sections. The kick action is also special, and we'll talk about that later too. Enemy power can be increased or can decrease through several means, but normally high power bad. Enemy weaknesses. This is only shown if you use the assess action on the enemy, but you don't need to use assess to exploit said weakness. Hitting an enemy with a weapon which has a type they're weak against will deal an extra point of damage per attack. Keyword, weapon. So this only applies to an equipped slot A item and using weapon attacks. The Time Multiplier in the UI. Hover over one of the 4 action categories to view its current multiplier. Basically, faster actions equals better. For weapon details, a lower speed value is good. This is a general multiplier that's then applied to an action's speed calculation. There are a handful of ways this can change, but do keep it in mind, possible bugs aside. The kick action. Kick's base information is a 2 damage attack at 55 time units at 80% accuracy. Kick's accuracy is not affected by an enemy's power value. There are a few ways the accuracy of the kick action can change, but it normally stays at 80%. For example, Kick ignores the effect of Blood Moon, but is affected by the Panic Curse. If Kick is faster or slower than 55 time units, it's likely your time multiplier has been affected somehow. Normal attack. The attack action's damage, speed, and accuracy largely depends on the equipped slot A item. The time unit cost is normally speed minus stat times 3. The calculated accuracy is equal to the item's chance to hit, plus level times 10, minus an enemy's power value. However, there are effects that can increase or decrease damage and accuracy further. Nonetheless, accuracy is almost always the value given by the game, unlike damage, which usually shows damage without some modifiers. Strong attack. Strong attack is, as most might expect, designed to be slower while dealing approximately 50% more damage. I'll call it strong for short. The time unit cost is normally speed times 1.5 minus stat times 4. The calculated accuracy is the same as a normal attack. For strong though, damage on weapons with an odd-based value can work differently when combined with the Desperate Struggle action. This will be explained further with the Desperate Struggle action. Prepare your attack. Prepare sets the accuracy of the next attack, kick, strong, ally attack, or fire weapon action to 100%. However, it costs 40 time units at a base time multiplier of 100%. Fire weapon. Fire's time unit cost is equal to 120 minus perception times 5, and its accuracy always seems to be 10% less than your normal attack accuracy. Fire needs 1 bullet to be successfully performed, otherwise nothing will happen. The game won't even let you try without a firearm weapon equipped. It also doesn't receive the effects of the Desperate Struggle action. Take note that if you happen to throw your gun before launching your sequence, fire will fail to take effect. Order your ally to attack. Ally attack deals potential damage up to 2 times the number of allies you have. Emphasis on potential. There is a good chance, I want to say 50%, but I haven't confirmed it, that you'll do 2 less than the displayed damage value. As for its speed, that's equal to 140 minus charisma times 5. And its accuracy should be equal to 70 plus level times 10 minus enemy power. If not, let me know. Attack boost. Boost increases the next attack's accuracy by 10% and costs 10 time units. It affects kick, attack, strong, ally attack, and fire. Nothing much else to say about that. However, I think 10 time units is the minimum time unit cost for an action. This means it's possible for boost to become slower, but not faster than its base value. Camera flash. Camera flash specifically requires a camera equipped on slot B to be a usable action. It lowers enemy power by 10 while giving you the ability to dodge at 50%. So a 2-for-1. It also triggers its power decreasing effect at the start of battle when equipped. Improvise. Improvise costs 120 time units to get you either a branch or a broken bottle that you can equip while in battle. They scale off of strength and dexterity respectively, and can be thrown for 3 damage. In addition, if you have the fast hands perk, you'll pick up another item in the same action. It'll either be an empty bottle or a brick, which both can be thrown for 4 and 5 damage respectively. They also have their own uses, the former to be filled in a normal bath, and the latter as a makeshift dexterity weapon. Assess the situation. Assess is your first time information perk for players new to World of Horror. There is one ally who interacts with this action, but for the most part, Assess can provide 2 key pieces of information. One is the weakness of the enemy, which must be the same as your equipped slot A item for weapon attacks. As mentioned earlier, every attack that hits a weakness adds 1 bonus damage. 2 is the trait of the enemy, which is associated with certain enemies that may have special mechanics. That's something that requires more time to explain, so we'll move on for now. Distract the enemy. Distract decreases your time multiplier by 10% additive to itself. So if you use it twice successfully in the course of a battle, your time multiplier without any other modifiers would be 0.8 or 80%. And of course, your ally should die if it fails. If an ally doesn't die in whatever version you're playing, it's likely a bug. Combat skill. At the time of this video, the combat skill action is bugged, but it's pretty self-explanatory. No, you can't go negative on experience with this action. That said, I want to say that it's at least providing an accuracy boost, but again, that depends on when you're watching this video. Desperate Struggle. The Desperate Struggle action, or I'll call it Desperation, doubles the base weapon damage of Kick, your normal attack, and a strong attack. It shouldn't apply to your ally attack and fire weapon actions. The note here is that your base damage is what is displayed on your equipped slot A item. For those who don't know, playing with the random item statistic setting on can cause the base damage of weapons to fluctuate. But what about weapons with a strong attack that does odd base damage? The main offender, or advantage in this case, is the Monkey Wrench item. The Monkey Wrench, when doubled on a strong attack, deals 15 damage without modifiers. I'm assuming this is because the normal attack damage times 50% is actually 7.5, which gets you 7 damage on a strong attack. But Desperate Struggle doubles the resulting 7.5 to 15 damage. If this all isn't true, then I apologize for wasting your time. But that's what I assume happens on most Desperation strong attacks. Keep in mind, damage modifiers are normally added after the double damage from Desperate Struggle. Basically, what's advertised is not always what damage you'll deal. At the time of this video, anyway. The Escape action. Escape is exactly what it says. At base, the doom increase is 5%, but different effects can change this or outright prevent you from escaping. Some encounters also have a special escape action that is not the same as this one. As a bonus tip, while you can't use the escape action from encounters normally against Kathak, you can use the pocket knife item to escape. Bug or not, you and the developer will decide. Meditate. Meditate is self-explanatory. Unfortunately, you can't manipulate your health to do a Desperate Struggle action in the same turn, though. And for your information, Meditate doesn't trigger the Paranoia effect. If that gets changed, well, this is an older video on an older update. The dodge action. Dodge costs less time units based on dexterity. Specifically, the time cost is equal to 155 minus dexterity times 8. It has a base chance of 50% to succeed, and doing so avoids an attack's effects and its damage. Failing, well, gets you hit. The brace action. Brace costs less time units based on strength. Brace's time cost is equal to 165 minus strength times 8. It halves damage down to a minimum of 1 damage, rounding down in your favor. So 3 damage becomes 1, 5 becomes 2, and so on. It also nullifies the negative effects of special attacks. Brace does not, however, prevent you from receiving negative status effects from backstories. Clap and Bow. Clap and Bow are actions used to banish ghost-type enemies. You need a permutation of 5 in the correct order to banish a ghost successfully, and that permutation only applies for the current run. However, you can still use a combination of 5 claps and or bows in a normal encounter. Doing so will grant you the same hints as if you were fighting a ghost enemy, and doing a successful ritual against a non-ghost enemy will tell you it's only effective against, well, ghosts. One last thing, you'll still take damage on the turn you banish a ghost, so plan for that. Your compensation for that is extra experience, but we'll see if this ever gets changed. Pray. The pray action, like meditate, is self-explanatory. However, it shouldn't trigger the suicidal status effect. It will, though, increase doom under the effect of a certain rule. Give an offering. Offer does what it says. You need 1 fund to perform it to deal damage. Defeating a ghost with Offer doesn't give banish experience, but it will defeat a ghost enemy before it hits you, similar to Sever. Sever ties. Sever deals damage equal approximately to your weapon's base damage divided by 2 plus knowledge divided by 4. I said approximately because there are exceptions due to stat calculations being a bit weird for this action. There are effects that can change Sever damage, so watch for modifiers as well. And if you have no weapon for a Sever kick and have 3 knowledge, for example, your Sever action deals 1 damage. However, almost every other situation applies the mentioned formula. Using items and spells. Using items or spells is considered a free action in World of Horror, meaning you don't lose time units or lose a turn for doing so. What is often missed is that this means you can also use items and spells while launching an action sequence. This allows you to make use of certain situations if you have the hand-eye coordination to do so. The biggest example is that an enemy will not deal damage to you if you manage to defeat that enemy through item or spell use before your turn sequence ends. Throwing items. Throwing items normally deals damage and is also considered a free action. You'll note that some items deal no damage when thrown. Why can you throw them for 0 damage then? Well, aside from just getting rid of an item, there are effects that can increase throw damage. So yeah, and similar to using items, you can also throw items while launching your action sequence. Sending an ally against an enemy. You can find this action through your ally UI, and doing so deals about 1 to 6 damage, but you lose your ally. Unlike distract the enemy though, certain allies will die here. Special combat actions. Not much to say here without spoilers, but do take the time to look for special combat actions. Some involve escaping from an encounter, some deal damage, and some do other things. Usually they appear for some bosses and special encounters. I just wanted to blanket cover this section in case future updates add more. So I wanted to also talk about battle meta, but this video exists for basic objective information on the battle system of World of Horror. Let me know if I made any mistakes. If things change, another video will likely be needed. Otherwise, there's not much else to say. If you have any questions, I'll try to address them. If there's anything you want me to make a video on, suggest it and I'll at least think about it. Until then, that'll be all. If you want to support me long term at the time of this video, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching and I'll see you later.